Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Lawrence OKWUDILI from the School of Education, Federal College of Education, Eha-Amufu, in Enugu State, Nigeria. The topic of my presentation is retooling instructional strategies for teacher instructional effectiveness in Nigeria using counseling supervisory model. In my abstract, I try to present a précis of the work, and the study investigated counseling model of supervision in retooling instructional strategies for effective teaching and learning. Data were collected from 127 respondents, that's teachers, from 2 schools, through random sampling, simple random sampling, and which formed the 3rd classes. 64 respondents were used as treatment group, whereas 63 served as control. The instrument used for collecting data was what I named TIERS, Teachers Instructional Effectiveness Rating Scale. This was developed by the researcher and consisted of 26 items. The validity and reliability of the instruments were established using phase and construct validation. Internal consistency and stability were established using Cronbach alpha and test-retest procedure respectively. The work had 2 research questions that were used and 3 null hypotheses that were formulated. Using mean and standard deviation, the research hypotheses were tested using analysis of covariance at significance, and the results were found based on the analysis. Let us go to the introduction, and before that, the keywords that guided the study were teacher instructional effectiveness, and this refers to the contributions of the teacher of maximum success in classroom teaching and learning activities. It also has to do with the ability of the teacher in realizing the objectives of teaching and learning. And of course, when this is done, we're talking about teacher effectiveness, instructional work. Then, traditional method of supervision. This model is the regular school visits, in which the supervisor rather engages in inspecting the physical appearance of the teacher, the classroom environment, the facilities, and so on, leaving the main issue of instructional supervision. This model was used as a control in this study. Then, counseling supervisory model. This model believes in the expression of the person, that's the teacher, whose psychological changes bring about changes in teaching behavior, and in which supervision can help change a teacher's self-concept, especially as the solution to teacher problem lies within the teacher himself. It was used in this study as a treatment. Then TIERS, Teachers Instructional Effectiveness Rating Scale, is the instrument developed by the researcher and used to elicit information from the respondents on the classroom effectiveness of teachers exposed to counseling supervisory model and those not so exposed. These form the keywords. Then we have to know in the introduction that supervision is an essential part of any organization. When the person plans his work and organizes and implements, the next thing that we follow from intervals is supervision. And in our traditional setting, especially in Nigeria, the supervision is focused on the teacher as the visitors, or what we call the regular supervisors, come to inspect the physical environment, the teacher's neatness and dressing and comportment and all that. But we have found out that given all these periodic visits, the teachers see the supervisor's visits as a threat and not a senior colleague trying to help a junior one to develop. For that reason, supervision is not what they name. And because of that, the researcher was, pushed to going to investigate because of that methods of supervision that could elicit effectiveness in teacher lesson delivery in the classroom. Just like so many authors, Ugu, Tete, and Eha-Amufu had already said, ineffective teacher could not contribute marginally to instructional successes. And of course, much of the classroom lessons and the lesson delivery lies with the teacher, because the way he handles it and the way older colleagues and senior colleagues try to help him during supervision should encourage him and make him deliver. And it is on this context that I buy the idea of Hartford, 1993, who based the counseling supervision on a number of assumptions, one of which includes that psychological changes bring about changes in teaching behavior. And I believe, and it is a reality. Secondly, Hartford said that the solution to teaching problem lies within the teacher himself, because he knows where it bites him most, and he knows the best way to go about solving it. And again, it was the same Hartford who said that counseling supervision model appreciates the intellectual understanding and behavior of the client, and for that reason he advocated that this should be tried. And of course, nobody, to the best of my knowledge, after literature review, has tried it, and that's why I ventured into presenting this for us to look at. Well, the research was limited to evaluating the effect of counseling supervisory model with the traditional method of supervision as a control. Like I've said, the variable used is gender, which was tested to see if it has influence on teacher effectiveness to instructional supervision when exposed to counseling supervisory model. Also, the study was limited to only teachers in secondary schools in the social education zone of Enugu State, Nigeria. And I was a kind of believing that when this is tested at this level and it works out like the result may show us, many more states and of course the entire nation may apply it. Then, two research questions were developed for the study. One of them is, to what extent does counseling supervisory model affect teachers' instructional effectiveness? The second one is, how does the instructional effectiveness of teachers exposed to counseling supervisory model differ according to gender? And the three research hypotheses that were formulated to guide the study include: one, there is no significant difference in the mean instructional effectiveness of teachers exposed to counseling supervisory model and those exposed to traditional model. The second hypothesis says there is no significant difference in the mean instructional effectiveness of male and female teachers exposed to counseling supervisory model. Then finally, the third one says there is no significant interaction between gender and supervisory model on teachers' instructional effectiveness. The design of the study. This study employed a passive experimental approach and specifically a non-equivalent control group design. The design was chosen because the study was of cost effect and with intact classes. It was not therefore possible to randomly assign subjects to treatment and control groups. There was a kind of pre-test, post-test approach on both groups, whereas the counseling supervisory package was used on treatment group, then traditional supervisory package was used on the control group, and the post-test was administered on both groups to see whether any result will appear. The study was conducted, like I said, in social education zone, and this comprises 52 public and missionary schools and in the 7 local government areas. The population of the study consisted of all the teachers in all the states, government and mission schools in the social education zone of Enugu State, Nigeria. There was a total of 534 teachers in the 52 secondary schools. 2 schools were drawn from this group, and through simple random sampling, 127 teachers actually were used. 64 were assigned to treatment group, whereas 63 were assigned to control groups. Then, based on this, we collected the results using research assistants and others that the researcher employed to help him do the work. Presentation of results and analysis. Data for all research questions were analyzed descriptively using mean and standard deviation. Decision level of acceptance or rejection of a statement is 60% response mean, which means acceptance, and then below 60 means rejection. Then for all hypotheses, they were tested using analysis of covariance and cover. As interclasses were used for the study, The choice of Ancover was made to remove initial differences between groups, control external variables and contamination, and then ensure equivalence within the groups. The results, number 1. Research question 1 says, how does counseling supervisory model affect teachers' instructional effectiveness? Then on table 1, as you can see here,